Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux, another live show. Let me unmute people before I forget. And today we're talking about Linux and the simpler times. Pardon if we buffer a little bit today. I'm not noticing any drop frames yet, but our internet's been kind of right on the edge of where I like to stream the Thursday shows because we have to have the extra bandwidth of the Jitsi, which right now it looks like Jitsi is turning off its video all on its own. So who knows? We may or may not have video of the guests, but we'll see what happens here throughout the show. Hey, Ivan's back. Look at that. All right. So
yeah, we are randomly activating the privacy filter.
Oh, randomly activating the privacy filter. That's good to know. All right. So let's check in on comments really briefly, and we'll dive right into the topic. I guess before we get into that, heading on into the Christmas weekend, we will have a weekly news roundup tomorrow. I'm not doing a video on Saturday or most of next week. If we get a video up next week at all, it will be weird and random, and it'll just be something that just was itching to get out. I am otherwise not intending to do a lot. Part of it is I'm at that time of the year that these solar panels just don't draw in enough power. I am starting this show at 12.9, maybe 12.8 volts, which is way lower than I should be at. So we're going to also probably stay on track and drop this streaming computer off as soon as we possibly can. And then next week, I'm going to travel a little bit. Of course, it's Christmas, so enjoy. And we'll be back. The first show back for sure will be the weekly news roundup the following week. So like next week. So we'll have one tomorrow. We will have a weekly news roundup the following week. Probably not any videos in between. I don't know. We might do a supporter hangout. We might do a live show next week. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be at. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be alive or not because I'm going to go down into alligator and python infested territory for a little bit. So, you know, as long as I survive the alligators, and I was told by the waitress at Cracker Barrel that it's not the alligators you need to worry about. She said it's the pythons you need to worry about. If I survive that, then we'll see you next week. Or, you know, so for whatever that's worth. If you're on Matrix, I will try and upload some beautiful photos of maybe if I find some gators or pythons or maybe a gnawed off leg. I'll throw
it's an open season on pythons. They want you to shoot them.
Yeah, that's what I hear, because the problem is the alligators have been used to living with people, and they kind of know people will gang up and kill them if they attack. So they're more docile. The pythons are introduced species with no natural predators. So that is that. Anyway, let's go ahead and check on the comments here. We got Ivan's on. Greetings. JR is on. Hello to you. Night of Light. Greetings. Made it on time. Yes, you did. CCJ, good evening to you. And the Truck Nerd's on. Gators taste like chicken. Yeah, I had a chance to eat some gator in Colorado a couple years ago, and I passed on the opportunity, but oh well, I hear it's.
But the big question about the pythons in Florida is, are they still running on Python 2 or have they migrated to the new Python 3?
I think they have migrated to Python 3, but I'm not sure. I will measure one, and if it's 2 feet or longer, you know, if it's up to 2 feet, it's on Python 2. If it's greater than 2 feet, it's on Python 3. It might be on Python 2.5. I don't know, so we'll see. Laissez-faire says ducks. Quack, quack. Always ducks around for some reason, all kinds. That's just your Haitian indicator. So, let's see. Yeah, I have been texting pictures of ducks on ponds to close friends of mine, saying no Haitians to report in this city. And it is on my bingo card. I'm actually working on bingo cards for 2025 with a friend of mine, and one of those is the entire collapse of the Haitian state, because, you know, like right now airplanes are landing. FAA has said no more flying airplanes, U.S. airplanes, to Haiti because they're opening fire. My friend of mine's like, it's kind of like when the missionaries would land their schooner planes to reach out to the natives, and the natives would shoot the planes with arrows and maybe go eat the people, you know, End of the Spear. I'm thinking of that movie, you know. Then it's kind of uncivilized territory here. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Of course, they took out barbecues. The Killdozer came back and they took out barbecue's hideout. Of course, barbecue escaped, so he's up garnering support. I'm my prediction 2025, we are going to see the crash of Haiti. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to try LA or Texas. Yeah, I mean, usually this time of the year, I'm in Arizona. I have full access to a church that's out there, so when my batteries get low, I can drive into the city, which is 8 miles from my camping spot. I can plug into the back of the building and never run out of power. So usually I'm in a lot better shape this time of the year because I have access to that. And I got to say, Arizona is way better than Florida. Florida's not bad for the occasional visit. By and large, I hate this state. It's entirely too crowded, it's too crowded. It's not really friendly to van life. Finding places to camp is much more difficult. And on top of it's hot like Arizona is, but it's massively humid. So I'm looking forward to, it's supposed to get down into 40 tomorrow night. And I'm really looking forward to that because it's hot. And of course, the refrigerator's running all day long. And that does not work well with the fact that my solar power is just not keeping up. So I will have to turn on my engine today. And
you'll have to climb up a pole with some jumper cables, and kind of.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. There's a host campground that's unoccupied over here, and there's power on. I'm really thinking about. I'm the camp host this week, babies. But I don't know if the actual department that checks up on this place comes by and I'm there. That kind of might be bad. I might get kicked out. But who knows? Maybe I'll just do it like Saturday night. If they kick me out, who cares anyway? Because I'm leaving Sunday morning. But anyway. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get on into our topic for today. And, of course, I got this idea because of an article we did in the Weekly News Roundup. I think it was last week. And this is the end of the Bluray Players. For LG is quitting Bluray Players. Several other companies have stopped making them, at least stopped making new versions of them. So LG is going to continue to sell out the ones that they have in stock, but they're not making more. There are some companies that have released some newer models as recently as last year. So this isn't like a total death knell. But I think overall of platforms, I think DVD is probably going to outlast Blu-ray. Kind of like, cassette tapes and 8-tracks came out about the same time. Cassette tapes endured and 8-tracks kind of died off because I think that they're a little bit more convenient in that there's a lot more players out there, a lot more options to do things with them, and DVDs are a little bit more robust. However, some stores like Best Buy and Target have stopped selling them. However, on the flip side of that coin, there has been a resurgence in people buying DVDs again. And the reason for that resurgence is that people are starting to get really frustrated with the streaming services. So the streaming services were the solution to, you don't have to buy all these DVDs. And then, when you only had like Netflix and that was about it, people are saying, well, I can get all these movies from Netflix for, at that time, it was like $7 a month versus cable for $150. And so a lot of people cut cable and went with Netflix. Well, now Netflix price is going up, and now there's this constant trading and bartering of shows. And so now everyone has to have 10 or more different streaming services to watch all the stuff they want. And they're still paying over $150 for this nonsense mishmash of things that constantly jump, that there's actually one website just to keep track of all of the programs and which streaming services they're on. So it's kind of like a TV guide for all the streaming services, which is a very interesting, fascinating idea. But because of this, people are getting back and buying the physical media again. And it made me think about simpler times, because we are in simpler times. Anybody want to comment on that before we dive further on in?
Yeah, the website you're talking about to look up a movie if you want to see which streaming service is on, it's called Just Watch.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's www.justwatch.com, and you put your movie in you want. They'll show you paid services that actually that have that movie on at that time, and some of the free ones if there's free ones on. Yeah,
it's kind of like just having that TV guide on your satellite TV or the cable when they start getting hundreds of channels. You could just watch that all day because there's nothing that you could find that's on,
You know, and it's really hard to find the really super old movies like
Yeah,
Day the Earth Stood
but
Still.
that's we don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the streaming services. That's more of just the introduction.
Okay.
What I want to talk about here is we used to live in a much simpler time, and now I was thinking about this today. One of my early morning walk, not the one I almost got lost in the woods in alligator and coyote territory, but earlier today though, when I actually had my maps with me, I was thinking, is this nostalgia I'm looking at? I don't think it is. And the reason is I am a nostalgic person. I love nostalgia. Now, I would define nostalgia as looking back and loving the things you used to love as a child, even though it's nostalgia because you look at it now from an objective standpoint and the crap we used to like is lame as all get out, right? Everybody experience nostalgia. You're like, okay, I like that film. I acknowledge it's really stupid. I still like it. It was part of my childhood. That's nostalgia. Now, what I'm looking at with this modern era is a time it was actually better. Now, prior to the internet, and I grew up without the internet, things were really good. But there were some limiting factors. I really think that golden age is the early 2000s, before 2010, before social medias took over and before everything in the world was an ad. Now, yes, there were still some pop-up ads on some websites, but the entire world wasn't zero focused on specifically targeting your machine ID and IP address combination for targeted ads. So we had internet, which was good, but it wasn't tightly controlled or constantly advertised to. And back in that day, also going back to those streaming services, we could buy things and have them rather than licensing the content, which they could end. And so there's this push for DVDs and TVs pushing ads. So everything is now an ad. There was a point in time, though, later in that period when the DVDs, like you rent a DVD, and there was no menu to get past all of the previews. So it's like going to a movie theater. You had to play the disc and you'd have to push the button hundreds of times. There's no way to just bypass all of the ads. They were making special DVDs just to send to the rental stores for that. That was kind of the beginning. So that's kind of our basic outline. Looking at the simpler
tapes
times.
Came before DVDs did in the rental stores.
Which ones?
VHS tapes.
Yes. Yeah, VHS tapes, of course, you could fast forward and stuff. But when DVDs hit the rental stores, now we still had a really good rental store in the turning into the 2010s. We had a Hastings, which of course have since gone out of business. They were an amazing store. Nowhere else could you buy a stripper pole and a Bible in the same place. It was amazing. That place was weird. But they had a bookstore. They had a movie store. They had a place to rent movies. They had a novelty shop. They had a coffee shop. It was like the perfect store. Why did this place go to business? I mean, I don't know. It was a fascinating place. And but we'd go in there and rent movies a lot, and we rented the DVDs and constantly. So that was when I was having teenagers over every weekend, just rent a lot of movies. But DVDs, they started to kind of lose a little bit. You could still find most movies coming out on DVD. Sometimes you had to order them. Of course, this laid way to more scammers on Amazon, particularly some of the older DVDs. They're just kind of like garbage, in-house burnt and shipped to you, and they don't work half the time. It's kind of interesting to see. But at the same time, you can still find a lot of DVDs, particularly thrift shops. You can buy new DVDs from the producers and stuff online. And I think that it's probably better to get back to those times because of the things that we're going to talk about here. So go ahead, Salpo. I'm sorry. I didn't see you were wanting to talk.
Yeah, so I remember when the DVDs started to be common on the store shelves and so on, and I remember that the biggest sales pitch at the time was that when you paused the movie, the image didn't flicker or move between a few frames back and forth as VHS did.
Yeah,
the perfect pause image. That was the big sales pitch at the time.
Interesting. I never saw, at least I never saw any of that marketing towards that. And do you guys, maybe that was something international. I have no idea, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course, I had a Laserdisc player before the DVDs. That was the latest.
My boss at the radio station that I worked at the time, he had a friend who had a Laserdisc player, and he had the Terminator movie on. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 Laserdiscs.
Yeah, it's probably, depending on what it was, there were 2 ways you could do a Laserdisc. And if it was the highest quality format, Terminator would probably be split over 5 sides, so 3 discs. If it was the more highly compressed version, then it probably would have been on 2 discs.
Yeah.
Depending on what those were. So what's going on now? Again, we covered this one in a recent weekly news roundup, where this is a TCL. I believe that was a TV brand. I think what they were doing is they were creating their own AI generated movies, just simply there to push ads. And these movies were the most nonsense crap you can imagine. Like this woman here, over a 5-minute short story, simply becomes a slug. Why? I don't know. But the entire purpose is just to sell short movies that people would just be literally too lazy to get up and change the channel. Like, and being as everybody has a clicker next to them at all times, like a TV remote, you have to be really lazy to not reach up for the remote to change the movie where the woman is turning into a slug. And
or just hit the mute button.
Yeah, the entire purpose here, this data told us that our users don't want to work that hard. Half of them don't even change the channel. So the idea was just to have these systems that were just short, easy, fast, consumable movies, just top-loaded and back-loaded with ads. And the entire purpose was for the TV to just collect all the data about you from listening to you and seeing you and knowing what you're watching, and just feed that data into the ad systems to just push the targeted ads.
Ooh, creepy.
And so that's kind of where they're going. Well, again, we covered this one. This is a ad system that is basically creating their own platform. And this is Trade Desk. So Trade Desk is one of the ad buyer and seller platforms, kind of like a competitor to like Google and Amazon and Facebook, but specifically in the TV ad market. Well, they are creating their own television operating system for smart TVs. And the pitch here is that if they are able to build their system in, then they will have a unified place by which they will be able to collect the absolute most information about people, which will mean that they can sell their ad space for a higher premium to the people who are wanting to purchase ads. Now, I don't think this article did, but another article I read on the same topic, they said there are a few challenges they're going to have, mostly that their TV OS is based on Android, and Google has traditionally pushed back against TV systems, mostly out of, I think, like an exclusive type deal with Roku or something like that. But effectively, what we're going to have here is the ad system now owns the operating system by which you are using, kind of like Google running the operating system for the phone, and can thus harvest all of the data to push you ads. Of course, a little bit different in that the Android is an open source project, so we have things like Graphene and Lineage and stuff that can pull out some of those connections. But at the same time, yeah, the stock system, Google can collect a little bit more data, and that kind of is one of the challenges. And so this got me into asking the other questions: where can we buy dumb TVs? And so here's where there's a marketing option. There are a lot of people asking where you can buy dumb TVs. Here's just a Reddit topic from 5 months ago. Strange question. Is it even possible to buy a dumb TV anymore? Of course, now everybody just says, well, just buy the smart TV and don't put it on the internet. I'm going to push back at that and say, just don't give them the satisfaction. Work as hard as you can to find a dumb TV. Do not give them the satisfaction of buying a smart TV, even if you're never going to put it on the internet. Give them the giant finger to say, no, I'm going to. And there are actually, we'll talk about it, there's a couple brands that still make dumb TVs, and you should do that. So got to be careful with that. So, of course, these guys, there are a few options. Number one, buy a big computer monitor, which are generally more expensive. There's also commercial monitors, which have a higher price tag, but are dumb monitors. People asked the same question just in August, just a couple months ago, on Linus Tech Tips. And people are asking, where can you find a dumb TV? Again, everybody's just basically saying, you know, just get a smart TV and never put it on the internet. I don't want to do that. Now, there's a few questions here. One of those, Salbu has a smart TV that's never been on the internet. And you said that it has never asked you a terms of service. So I'd like to ask you guys listening in live or watching us afterwards, leave us in the comments. Do you have a smart TV that has never been on the internet that you still have to agree to some form of terms of service? Let me know that. I'm interested in the answers to that.
I have a really old smart TV, but it never actually had me agree to any terms of service, and it came with the most popular apps for its time: Netflix, Fubo, Pluto, whatever, you know. It's a 2013 model. And the problem I had with the TV is the apps started to falter and not work anymore. And I did some research, and it turns out at the time, developers were more interested in making phone apps, and they made more money doing that than actually playing with TV apps.
Yeah, and so if you put that TV on the internet, it's probably radically insecure, right?
At the time, you know, it was just a TV connection. I don't know how much information 2013, how much information could it share? Plus, it was on DSL.
Well, that was in the Snowden times. There was a lot more data collection going on than people thought.
But it eventually ran out, and then I got a Roku box, one of the 4K ones. Yeah, and that's where you got the terms of service starting to come in, because each app that you downloaded and put on it. My point though here is that TV, if you put that TV on the internet, it probably has not received updates and is probably radically insecure. Right? It radically don't work anymore because the apps are all dead. Okay, so it basically just doesn't even do anything, but you still would not want to put it on the internet. It may show you the apps, but when you go to click on them, you know, they don't open. Yeah. So my mother still has a TV I had in 7th grade. And it still works. It's no different. You know? We need to get back to that era. Once again, going back to life being simpler times, so you could buy a TV and it would just work for years. And, you know, I was in the 7th grade last year, or 2 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or coming up on 30 years ago. I mean, so, you know, I think 7th grade, I think that was longer than 30 years ago. I don't know anymore. Yeah, I'm old. So that's the issue, is these things will also eventually fade out. So this is where the FTC right now is looking at saying that, hey, you have to have a certain limit by which you can supply them. Now, you're saying that the Roku box is where you start seeing the terms of service, though. In fact, I got one from Roku today, and I put it in the trash in my email. Yeah, Roku service notice. We're updating our privacy policy. Yeah, we're updating our lack of privacy policy. I just got this today, and I just filed it in the trash can in Thunderbird. Mm-hmm. I didn't even click on the link to go look at it. Yeah, because I'm not using the Roku box, because I built my own media server for my TV, so I don't have to use any of that junk. Yep. All right, so some people are asking about dumb TVs. Tom's Hardware actually had, Tom's Guide, I guess, had a really good article on why you can't find the dumb TVs anymore. It boils down to a lot of the cost to manufacture TVs is actually paid for by the people who are putting their software in the TVs. So the TVs companies can manufacture a smart TV for a lot less money than they can manufacture a dumb TV, because they're basically being subsidized, because the data is going to be sent right back to those companies that run the smart TV software.
And so this was a really fascinating article getting into why this is, because of the companies subsidizing the information, which is why you can't find any anymore. Now, this guy says, despite the number of times they were caught listening in on conversations and despite their incessant targeting of advertising, smart TVs are incredibly popular. I'm not sure if they are. We're having Reddit and Linus Tech Tips articles questioning where in the world can I find a TV without all the smart features. And that's where I'm at. I still have a 42-inch TV in my storage unit that works fine and it's dumb. When that thing stops working, I'm going to want to get something else, and it's going to have to be a dumb TV. I am not giving them the satisfaction of buying a smart TV, even if it's off of, if you've never connected to the internet. It's just a line I'm not going to cross.
Then on that, you might be pestered when you turn on your new smart TV. It might have a bunch of hoops. You got to push buttons through to get to the real TV.
Absolutely. And Dan, were you the one saying also some of the new smart TVs you have heard are coming with their own SIM chips, and so you can't have them offline?
Yeah, about 4 days ago, I came across a YouTube video, and then it was not very long. It was about 10 minutes, and that they were going to start in the future introducing these new smart TVs with LTE and 5G connectivity already in them and turned on. And the TV manufacturer is paying for the service for the TVs, so you can choose to connect if you want, the broadband experience. But if you don't want to connect your TV, it's still going to listen to you and stuff like that and send your stuff to a cell tower. Yeah.
So that's my point. I don't want a smart TV, even if I'm not connecting it to the internet, because it might be connecting to the internet without my consent.
Yeah, you're going to have to wrap your TV in tinfoil and try to watch it through the tinfoil.
That's really hard to do. Now, Salbu, you said that your TV, if the power goes out, you always have to go through a few hoops every time you turn it back on.
No. So there is a few things happening. Obviously it takes a little longer to start up. But there are two notifications that show up that goes away after a while.
Okay, so the notifications.
And one is that it says that I need to connect it to a network, a wireless network. It has an Ethernet port on the back, but so it complains once per boot that it doesn't have a network connection. And then it complains that the microphone is turned off because there is a hardware switch at the back that turns the microphone off, and that was the first thing I turned off.
Because we need our televisions to have a microphone. Yeah. Which you know what they're doing with the microphone. So obviously it's allegedly they're listening to us or whatever else. What they're actually doing, though, is some TV commercials actually have some low-level frequencies that we can't pick up on. And the microphone is picking this up. And so the TV, what the microphones are doing and the data they're collecting is to find out, listening for ambient noises, are people in the room, and if possible, how many people are in the room when one of these ads with the subversive frequency is playing, as a means to attempt to figure out how many people are being subjected to the ad. And that's really what they're doing with the microphones. On the more tinfoil hat side, they're listening to everything you're saying.
Yeah, you're saying, oh, it's time to get up and make some popcorn. You come back to your TV, there's ads for popcorn all over it.
Yeah, there you go. Say, I'm going to get up and go feed the cat, and then you'll come back to cat toys on there. Temptations will be over there. Where's my cat? So
the good thing about the brand, so I have a TCL 55-inch 4K something, and it uses Google TV as the operating system, so it can use it uses the Google App Store solution, which means that it also can use the F-Droid app stores if you want to use the smart features.
That's good. One of the things, I would not want those notifications because I actually, believe it or not, as much as I believe all of this climate change nonsense is nonsense, I'm actually, even when I am not in a van and even when I'm in a, even when I'm in my, in a house, I do not keep anything plugged in at all. So my house almost never has even any ambience of ghost power. It means when I'm done watching the TV, I actually just hit the off switch on the power supply and I turn everything off. So there's no ghost power anywhere. So literally anytime I'd go to turn on the TV, I would get those same notifications, which are kind of crazy. And so with this, Tom's Hardware says, well, where can you buy a dumb TV? And they give us a few options. You know, some are like, go Best Buy and search dumb TV. So let's go to Best Buy, search dumb TV. Smart. 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 So no, you're not finding dumb TVs on Best Buy. I don't think Best Buy sells dumb TVs anymore. In fact, I was out with my friend Fresh Vintage, the YouTube channel Fresh Vintage. We were out at his house in Virginia, and we're like, there is an open box dumb TV, and we think it was the very last dumb TV that was in the city, so he bought it. But even searching for dumb TVs at Best Buy does not actually result in any dumb TVs, at least on their website. Oh, there is actually a section here for non-smart. Let's click the non-smart. Okay, so there is a non-smart, but again, you'll notice business account exclusive, $750 for a 43-inch, $699 for a 43-inch, $1,200 for a 55-inch, $1,600 for a 43-inch, $2,800. Hey, that's saving $2,000. This thing was $5,000 for a dumb 55-inch TV. This is absurd. Look, $150,000 for a Samsung 114. What is this, Frank's 2,000-inch TV?
That's outrageous. My Vizio TV I bought in 2013 cost me $850 from Walmart.
$850. Yikes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I googled while the show was starting. So I googled in Norwegian for dumb TVs, and I got to about where you could still buy one, and I found a Reddit thread with Norwegians discussing this, and one of them linked to a second-hand online store, and someone was selling for $40. Those old black and white travel TVs with 12 channels and 3 buttons.
Yeah. So if you want to pay $150,000 at Best Buy for an Ultra 4K, yeah. Now Amazon, you'll have better luck. On Amazon, you can find Komodo by Scepter, and Scepters are good. I'm actually running Scepter dual Scepter monitors here in my van. This is a 43-inch. I believe this is a dumb TV. I didn't see the resolution on that one specifically. Here's a Scepter 50-inch. You can see it's is this 4K? A little bit higher. This looks like a dumb TV for $250. Westinghouse does sell some that are non-smart TVs. Non-smart TV, 139, 32-inch. So Amazon might be a good place to go. Here's an Insignia. That's smart, though. Here's a commercial for $700. This is a Samsung 50-inch 4K. So there are options, but again, it's getting to be like this kind of stuff that you got to go and find the options elsewhere. And that's kind of the problematic part, right? So go ahead, Dan.
Okay, I got my remote from my 2013 Vizio TV, and the applications for what smarts it had. The remote has an Amazon button, a Netflix button, and an AmGo button.
Okay.
An AmGo.
And that's all the apps?
That's all the apps they put on the remote, and I bet them companies paid money to put it on the remote. You can go in when it's hooked up and get more apps, but the whole operating system for the apps is like I said, is totally done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most expensive real estate on a TV is for having the apps on the remote control. They pay really big money in order to be on the remote.
I just thought I would bring that up because I had remembered that there was apps on my remote.
Yeah, I think mine has a Netflix button.
Yeah, I've got Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, and Vudu.
So Ivan, you have a smart TV?
Yeah, it's a Philips. It's got a built-in Roku. Although I don't use that Roku, I actually use my old set-top Roku because it's an Ultra and I like it. But yeah, it's a smart one, and the TV itself, and I just don't use any of the smart features because I don't need to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't either.
So,
but I do understand why people use the smart features on the TV, because there are people out there who really don't want to have another box in the living room just to watch TV.
mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
That's, and that's valid. I understand that. What I would like to see is more options. That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So I want to go into options. What options do we have? Obviously, what I do is I have a large collection of DVDs. I have like from 400 some now. I'm sure some of you have far more impressively sized collections, but and the real kicker for all you movie industry tycoons who are watching this, I had not bought DVDs for years until I had the easy ability to watch my movies on Linux. So me switching to Linux has led me to buy many more DVDs. And a good chunk of those I bought new. I ordered specific movies I was looking for online, new on Amazon. A lot of them I bought on the second hand. Now, you can buy DVDs and use them offline. In some jurisdictions, you can. And, in other jurisdictions, it's questionable if you can, but you might be able to digitize your DVDs. Applications like Handbrake would allow you to digitalize them. And so what you can do then is you can have a digital copy you can watch locally from any of your devices. So what do you do with those? One good solution is Open Media Vault, and I have a whole complete guide tutorial on setting this up. This is what I do personally. I have an Open Media Vault built in a Raspberry Pi 4. It acts as a file and media server, and any computer on my network can access any of the movies, any of the files, anything that I have in there. And this is just a really good local option. You can tie it with my best bud Cody to watch films. Of course, you can also do things like use the what's the plugin? It's not plug and play. What is the one? The protocol that VLC uses, where it just finds the open network servers. There's a name for that. I forget what it is now. But Open Media Vault is a really good option for that. And so you can set this up, and mine's set up encrypted because I'm here in the van. So if the worst should happen and somebody busts in here and runs off with the hard drive, it's all encrypted, not going to help them any. So that's an option. The other good option we have is Jellyfin. So Jellyfin is effectively like your own self-hosted Netflix server, which all is online and such. So, movies and music, and let me go back here. So movies and music and TV shows. I think you can do audiobooks as well, things like that. They do have a demo on their site you can click. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but we'll see. So the Jellyfin server, this is more of like an internet connected option. And okay, I'm not going to look up what the password is, right? There it is, user demo and empty password. Let's go ahead and do that. So here you can see this is online here. And so it looks like I'm assuming everything here is public domain type stuff or something that they have the ability, because literally I could come in here most likely and watch any of these movies. There you go. There's the old Jungle Book, War of the Planets. Yeah, these are all old films. These are all The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. There you go. So you can basically load up your video servers onto these, and you can do everything there. I have a whole install guide on my website as well. So if you want to learn about installing this and doing some basic configuration settings, I have a whole guide on doing that. And so there are really some nice options there that you can do. And so those are some of the options. Do you guys have any other options that we can talk about for other solutions here for getting back to simpler times?
I actually, for the nostalgic thing, don't even rip my Blu-rays and DVDs. I've got my media machine next to my TV actually set up so the player can play them. I mean, even play the Blu-rays. Unfortunately, it won't do the 4K Ultra Blu-rays. Those are a special horse all by themselves. There are very, very few computer internal drives that you can buy that will read those and make MKV. It's got a whole thread and a thing on that, how you change the firmware and those to free Libre to override the DRM for them discs. But I just, I don't have time to rip a ton of DVDs and, have files and keep up a computer full of movie files and everything else. And then when the software becomes outdated, swap everything out, put everything back in and all that. I just keep it simple. The movies have been on the discs for a very long time. The house is temperature controlled and I've never had one go bad. So I just keep them on the disc. It's perfect storage. It's probably the best storage over anything else.
Pure classic nostalgic mode. Just pop them in there. Got the whole CD racks all over the place. Whole wall of movies. Go ahead, Selby.
Yeah. So you mentioned Yellowfin. So I use that on my server in order to get my family access. There's another way that. Some people install the application made by your friend Cody.
Good friend, yes.
But for those who want to use Yellowfin, who have an in-house server, you could hook up your smart TV for the only purpose of installing the Yellowfin client on the TV if you have an Android TV. And it's available on other smart TV stores as well.
Yeah.
Not Samsung's store yet, but it's a work in progress. And then and once you install it, you can configure your television to or you configure your DNS server or your router to not to block internet access for your TV, but allow local access, and then you can use the Yellowfin app on your TV and still have access to all your movies and content on the smart TV, even though it's not connected to the internet.
Yeah, that is a good option. You can do just on your router. Just find the MAC address for the TV and just block it from having internet access. That's an option too.
Yeah.
I'm more into when I'm going to rip something, it's going to be music, not video. Because I have vinyl records and stuff like that, and sometimes I'll get a really good one, and I'll just want the whole album transferred and digitized so I can play it on an iPod.
There you go.
I think there is only 2 movies that I have actually ripped from a DVD, and that is because on the streaming solution that I'm paying for, where I can legally download stuff, they don't have so they have everything that I need, but they didn't have those particular ones, so I ripped them, and they are in my video player. But I do have a lot of DVDs in storage in my house.
Well, yeah, when you get to our age or older, as being the resident boomer here, you don't want to spend the rest of your days ripping DVDs and stuff like that when they're perfectly fine on the medium that they were made on, which is better than any SSD or hard drive that's came out of a factory.
Yeah.
That's just been my experience. Now, I have had an SSD take a dump a few months ago on me, and that kind of left some salt on my tongue.
Yeah, I mean, if you do have a way to digitize your files, make sure you have a backup.
That's another problem,
Yeah.
You got to back up every time you put a movie in the server. You got to back it up on something else.
Well,
Yeah,
on Open Media Vault, you can just plug in the disk and push the rsync button, and it just rsyncs them to your
but the problem is that for those who really are into watching movies and TV series, and who either rip or otherwise gain access to local content, both in legal and illegal ways. The problem is they take a lot of storage. So I've mentioned this before. I have a friend who have a big RAID. He has a big Supermicro 4-unit server with 20 hard drives in it, with a total capacity of 109 terabytes of storage in a RAID 10 in RAID 6. He need in order to back this up, he actually needs another server with as many drives, and that's costly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you get that crazy where you want that much, or in some instances, just that big of files, like for me, since I don't sit there and watch movies anyway, I more listen to them and glance at the screen from time to time while I'm working. DVD quality is perfect for me, and that means it's less than a gigabyte typically.
Well, now that you live in a van, you gotta optimize every square.
No, I mean I was doing that far before I lived in a van, though. That's just the way I don't see the need to have super duper amazing full-fledged HD 4K quality stuff, because our eyes just can't even discern that much detail. Unless we are watching it on Frank's 2000-inch TV, in which case, sure, you might need that. But on my 22-inch monitor here,
Yeah, I remember when the smartphones started to have 1080p displays, and I was thinking to myself, a device which fits, you can conceal in your hand. What use is there for high resolution image on those devices? It's bonkers.
And OLED too.
Yeah, I don't know what the Razer has. I know the Razer has greater than a 1080p. I don't know if I can actually see that. I boot the guy on. It should be booted on once anyway. But it does have a really good resolution. Curiously, the Razer phone is actually still a much better phone than the Pixel is that I use. I don't know. Maybe it's out of nostalgia. I should use it, right? But it is actually a much more superior phone. I don't know. It doesn't look like it has an OLED display, though. Just looking at the display as it boots up. Let's see.
And so, speaking of going back to the TVs and using smart TVs as dumb TVs, and we have mentioned this before, but a simple solution that which is what I'm doing. I have a laptop with HDMI output 1080p connected to my 4K TV. 1080p is I'm more than happy with that. So you can use good old-fashioned computer as your TV remote, basically.
That's what I do. That's my TV media center, and my TV is only a 1080p TV as well, from 2000 from 2013.
Yeah, if you use my Best Bud Kodi, then you can actually control your whole system with a smartphone too. Open source app.
Ooh, that's scary.
No, it's fine. It's all an open source local network app.
Yeah, and the control mechanism, I think it's dependent on you being on the same network as the application.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want my TV making friends with any other electronic device, including a phone.
Oh, but it's not my TV. It's the open source software. So the whole system is built on was OSMC, I think, and OSMC is just an application in Kodi where you can turn on a local remote control access, and then just download the app from from there. Yeah, Cody's on. Hey, yeah, Cody Lamar's on. He's my best bud. That's right. See, it's Cody Lamar. We'll just call it Lamar. We'll just confuse everybody. Right? All right. Let me go ahead and check in on the comments. If anybody sees a comment you'd like to read, go ahead and read it. But let me check in. I'm actually going to. I think I'm going to start over here on Rumble, where 16 people are watching.
Rumble,
Boycotting
that's usually the
LG,
quiet
got it.
place.
Be kind, rewind. Sound Jewish, what? Let's see. Smart TVs are for dumb people. Dumb TVs are for, well, you're not smart if you're still watching TV, but you see what I'm doing. That might be true. That might be true. But hey, you know, you got to watch your movies from time to time. I've been going through my Christmas movies. Here's the downside. I have them on the server. One of my movies has somehow serendipitously disappeared from my server. I don't know where it went. But that was the case. And so, yeah, but you know, like I said, just play some stuff in the background. Let's see. Just Joshin 78. Greetings. Large monitor with a VESA mount on the back for a basic computer TV with tuner card. There you go. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be. Yeah, Scepter is hit and miss. I bought a number, some okay, some not. I've always had pretty good luck with them. Is there a check mark for non-smart? Yeah, on Amazon, or was it? Yeah, it was Best Buy. There was the check mark for non-smart. I didn't see one such check mark over on Amazon. I didn't look for it though either. I can say that. We got 9 currently watching on Odyssey. I'm not sure why Odyssey is our least good platform. I don't know. Favorite Odyssey stickers are back. Very cool. Very cool. 8 tracks constantly losing their track and playing 2 tracks at a time. Yeah, that was just Black Sabbath. It was playing the song forward and then backwards saying, I am the devil, I am the devil, I am the devil. That's what was going on there. Let's see. Long songs were split between tracks. And I gotta Davida, baby. All right.
I actually have that Black Sabbath
you did?
album. I'm going to have to try that.
Oh, who was that? Who was Anagata Davida? Who was that? Who was the musician?
I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah, I know. I should too, but I don't. Iron Butterfly, is that it? But is that okay? Hold on. I can't even spell that. I'm just going to type whatever phonically that sounds in a search engine and say, no, that end that. Okay. Iron Butterfly. Yes, I was right. I got to Davita's Iron Butterfly. Okay. I know my music. Woohoo. Almost having a senior moment here, right?
Well, they had to call it Iron Butterfly because they couldn't call it Lead Butterfly because there's a Led Zeppelin.
Uh-oh. Yeah, but there's an Iron Maiden, so no good choices here. Of course, at that point, I was watching Monty Python's Flying Circus on Saturday Night first season. Let's see. I'm trying to make sense of everything written on Odyssey. I always wanted to see a legit Land of the Lost, not a campy thing with what's his name created. Story would answer the questions behind Pylon and Tech's Sleek Stack history. Instigator, yes, I would love a banana split, especially since it's so hot here. Got a free Westinghouse 32-inch dumb TV 10 years ago. Made a great second monitor. Still put it out once in a while with rabbit ears to watch local OTA games. There you go. Yeah, Westinghouse might have my business if they're the ones making smart TVs.
It talks to the fridge.
Yeah. The TV and the refrigerator having a protest. They're not going to deliver your food or breakfast or anything. All right. Not always roll the dice. They make it so it wouldn't digitalize correctly. The sound would be off or colors whacked. What are you talking about there? Like ripping movies? I've never had a problem. Allegedly. Let's see. Run your own DVR for cable or dish and snag straight off SSD and convert the desired format. Always a workaround. Yeah, the only movie I have not had good success with was actually Ender's Game, so I just did that one with a capture card. All right. If I can watch it, I can make it.
By the way, I checked on 2 of the big electronic stores in Norway. One is called Power and the other is Elkjøp. And you can still buy dumb TVs, but the highest resolution is 43-inch from Thomson.
But is it $150,000?
No, it's 450.
Oh, well, I don't want it then. If I'm not paying $150,000 for my TV, I just don't want it. There's got to be a TV snob here.
Yeah, I don't want my MTV that bad.
I want my MTV. Never mind. 150,000.
There was one earlier this year, at least 6 months ago, who ended up in the a few papers because he won a lottery, a European lottery. He won $7 million, and he bought a 110-inch TV, which cost $150,000. And they have so he lived on the 4th floor, and they have to use a crane in order to get it inside because it didn't fit in the lift. So when you do have that kind of money, I do understand why someone would buy such a humongous TV.
Yeah,
and there had to be 4 people in order to mount it on the wall, which was part of the price of buying it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the TV's only $50,000. It's going to cost $100,000 to mount it for you. Truck Nerd says always had trouble getting loads out of Florida. Is a consumer, not a producer. Perhaps things. What do you mean getting out? Like I know there. Like curiously, I passed through an agricultural inspection when I first get into the state. I also passed through one in the middle of the state, and which was totally curious to me. It's like I've been in the state for a week. And that guy was just sitting there watching TV. He's like, yeah, everyone had to pull in. And in Florida, vans, campers, RVs, all those have to stop at the agricultural inspections too. If you don't, the police will chase you down. So I pull up and like everything looks closed. I'm like, look, and there's a guy there watching TV. He just looks up and waves. Like, okay. Watch out, man. Doge is coming for your job. Now, the guy coming into the state, he stops and asks questions, but he was mostly concerned if you were commercial. It should say commercial vehicles pull in, because if you're not commercial, you say, I'm an RV, they're like, yeah, go, get out of here. Why'd you stop, you know? Because the police officer said I had to, you know. Amazon Prime double dips. They charge a monthly fee to access and then separately for the good movies. Yeah. Don't forget that they triple dip because now they're giving you ads too. So can't forget that one, Mark.
Yeah.
If you like show DVD, you just want a sample streaming. Wait. Skip Last Christmas, one of the worst Christmas movies I've ever seen. I'm not sure I've seen Last Christmas. Home Alone 2 is miles ahead of it. I got Home Alone 2. I'll watch that sometime this week. Early 2000s internet was fun. Now it's like something we live with. Yeah, that's the kind of point, right? Most of the shelf DVDs were like that. Let's see. When looking for online HTML code, remember we could put layouts and stuff on Facebook and MySpace. I don't remember being able to do that on Facebook, and I used Facebook in the early days of it. MySpace, that was a problem. Yeah, in fact, many people say that that's probably what killed MySpace. Just had a few ripped and reburned without ads because I got so aggravating. Yeah, like I don't see ads through the course of my day. Like it's frustrating when I do see an ad. In fact, I clicked on what sounded like an interesting Dave Ramsey video today, and like 30 seconds into it, they do this thing where it's like hit a pause on the video and then a big old ad jumped up on it. Close. I don't need to listen to Dave Ramsey that bad.
So that's the other issue with DVDs. If you watch them straight up out of the box, is you get all the previews for all the other movies that are coming out. You have to sit through those or fast forward through them.
Yeah, so that depended on if the DVD originated from a DVD sales to a rental place, or most of the ones that were commercial you just buy in the store, they had a menu that you could skip all that. The ones that they sold to rental stores, which eventually ended up getting all sold on the used market. Most ones on the used market now are the rental store ones. Those ones had unskippable advertisements at the beginning.
Almost all of mine, except the box sets, have at least one or two movies in front of their trailer.
But those are not on the video tracks if you happen to digitalize your films.
Right.
Those are not in there. And so, I don't see those.
That's the drag side.
Yeah. $5 classics and wrapper DVD shelf, but they are there if I ever get the itch. Yeah. Got a whole shelf of the $5 classics still in the wrapper. All right. Still have an old Laserdisc player. Yeah, I saw the end of Laserdiscs about 2 or 3 years before it died and sold everything off while it was still a premium. I think I ended up selling the Gods Must Be Crazy on an eBay option. People got into a bidding war for it, and I got $50 for that Laserdisc.
I remember a friend of mine from my hometown. He had a VHS player, a Betamax player, and a VHS 2000 or something 2000 player. All cassette type players, but as we all know, the one that people were satisfied with won the war because of lower cost.
This is funny. CCJ says, tried to get Netflix to work over Thanksgiving and it errored out. And then Error 42 jumps in. Hello, everyone. Oh, boy.
I've never had a problem with Netflix. Matter of fact, out of all those streaming services that I have tried, Netflix has the best user UI for a web browser.
Error 42 says it's becoming more of a pain to use smart TVs as a dumb TV, especially with the worsening user interfaces also affecting TVs.
Yeah, the camera, so you can give it a retina scan to turn it on.
Yeah, and then they know exactly who's there, and they can monitor how many people are there, and then the microphone turns on and listens to you. And then they start selling you stuff. The dumb TV of now are currently being classified as business displays, and they are expensive. You have to provide a compute module and proof of having a business to get a quote. Yikes. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Well, my vans, I was able to easily get the van because I have an LLC. I don't know what I would have done if I went to buy the van and didn't have my LLC documentation with me.
But Mark just commented in the Jitsi chat that Error 42, because all the TVs are made in the same Chinese factories.
There you go.
I get the feeling with the push with ads and the high price of cars and everything else that these giant companies just want to suck every little penny out of all us little people.
Yeah.
Until we're all completely broken at the mercy of them.
Yeah, replace the smart TV main board and use a Raspberry Pi instead. I mean, I don't know if you could easily do that because that module is also going to be controlling everything on the TV itself. I don't know. Too busy watching Switch to Linux channel on my TV. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't need a smart TV. You have Switch to Linux.
So, yeah.
It's true. Microphone hardware switch, aka soldering iron. No doubt the TV will refuse to work if that mic isn't connected. Yeah, happens on phones anyway. Yeah, talk about the microphones. Ben's Tech Room. Got a dumb TV. Got a choppy audio from HDMI cable on Linux Mint. I'd use Kodi if I could get over that bug. I hate Roku ads. Let's see. Got a dumb TV. Got a choppy audio over the cable in Linux Mint. Anybody have solutions for that? Any thoughts? Because I've never had any issues.
That may have to do with your video card, because actually HDMI and the audio for it come out of your video card, whether you have an AMD or an NVIDIA.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is it's an error in the cable itself. But yeah. And that's got to be something unique with your setup. It's not Linux Mint, as I run Linux Mint a lot, and I have run audio through the HDMI cable, and I don't have any issues with it.
Because I have, if it helps, I have an NVIDIA GTX 1080 video card for my TV computer, and I use a HDMI cable. It goes right in my TV, and it sends the audio in it and everything just fine. And I use LMDE. I don't use Mint.
Okay. The other thing you could try is you could try switching. If you've tried it in the past and you're on Pulse Audio, you could also try using Pulse Audio volume control package and see if there's some settings in there that would fix it. The other thing is try switching it to Pipewire and see if that solves it as well. Those are some other things you could try.
If you use a Pulse Audio mixer, you should be able to check your right box for the correct output.
Yeah.
Because you might be on some other output that's not so fully supported. Because in that application or piece of software, it will allow you to select an HDMI out.
Yeah. So those are things I would check. Cable, Pulse Audio volume control, swap to Pipewire. Those are things you might check on that. Especially using a monitor for an old PC to play a movie or whatever. Yeah. Use Roku device for now until you can find a decent open source alternative. Open to suggestions. The other thing you could do is just get yourself a Raspberry Pi and install LibreElec on it. That's, I think, the best way to get my good buddy Cody on there right now is LibreElec, which I think is based on Arch, I think. But it's just simple Raspberry Pi, plug it right in. You can actually install it directly from the Pi Imager application. So you can just plug your SD card in, say I want LibreElec, plug the card in, plug it into the Raspberry Pi, and configure it. Plug it in and configure it. So that's a decent option, and Raspberry Pis are pretty cheap these days. And something like that, you can get away with an older Pi. You don't need the latest version. In fact, my Kodi box, my standalone Raspberry Pi Kodi box, is still a Raspberry Pi 2 with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So, and it works perfectly fine.
Yeah, it doesn't need the whole memory to play back.
Idiocracy has arrived. That's right.
There's a comment on the YouTube from a user who is wondering if he is shadow banned on your channel, and maybe we should ignore his comment.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that's from Flat Earth Disciple.
Why not hook up a mini PC to the TV and just use a keyboard and mouse to control it? Yeah, that's actually my media PC. It's a micro tower. What is it? Is it an Optiplex? Is that what that one is? I forget. And that just runs down through one of my monitors, and that's my general purpose computer that does all my media stuff.
Yeah, so what I do is so I have a laptop which is where the lid is closed. So I often had to configure it to don't go to sleep or to hibernate when the lid is closed. And I use wireless keyboard and mouse in order to control it.
Yeah, my media PC, I like the wireless mouse plugged in the front. There's only 2 front USB ports on it. But to keep the confusion, to not getting confused, I plugged the keyboard in the back, and I found out that because it's behind the PC, the keyboard don't always want to talk to it. So I had to get an extension cable and zip tie it up to the cable to the TV so the keyboard could see it.
Yeah.
The plasma big screen for the Pi. I'll look into that. I wrote that one down. I'll look into it.
Plasma Pi. Wow.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Remember, you can jump through the hoops just to watch DVD on Linux and on Debian. You still get to download. Yeah. I don't think you... Oh, yeah, back then you still had to, yes. Most of that's taken care of these days.
I think you still have to, because the decryption library,
yeah, on Debian, yeah, you do have to.
Yeah. And I think also in Fedora and other free software-only distros.
I think after a while, that if it's recognized that people are now buying DVDs and stuff like that and hunting them down in places, it's going to be like the vinyl resurgence, they call it. It started before 2017. Now we have brand new turntables that are coming out from Fluence, Auto
Yeah, I've seen that.
Technica.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
I saw a portable turntable at a thrift shop the other day.
Don't buy one of those if it's one of the suitcase ones,
Yeah.
because they have ceramic needles in them and it'll tear up your records.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't use a sapphire needle either. Use a genuine diamond.
Diamond? I figure a diamond needle might mess it up more than anything else.
No. As a matter of fact, they come in different shapes. They come in canonical. They come in elliptical. They come in either bonded or nude. A nude diamond stylus. Actually, the whole diamond goes right to the cantilever that moves the magnets around in it, where the other type has a piece of porcelain in between the diamond and the cantilever.
Speaking of turntables, this evening in European time, I was playing in the at my local church because it's Christmas soon, and one of the acts on the stage was the preacher's wife was sitting down with a few kids on the stage. And she was reading a story about her grandmother's turntable. And she had this turntable. I think it's almost 70 years old now, and it still works.
Also, turntables, it's not such a thing these days, unless you're into this old 75 records, the ones made out of shellac. Those require a completely different needle. Don't use a modern needle on those. Especially, probably all of them are very valuable now if they're not all beat up.
I remember I had a turntable 30 years ago that it had 3 speeds on the selector, 33, 45, and 78.
Yeah, 78 was the speed I was thinking. The 78, it takes a different needle.
There is another one.
Now, some of those, like you're displaying, had a thing where you could just pull a lever around and go around to the other side and flip to a different needle.
Yeah, I had one of those. So it had the push buttons that you so it moved the lever all by itself. And when it came to the end of the one side, it turned to the other side by itself by moving the lever. It was magic. I remember.
Yeah, the old record players that you could stack up your albums on, those are considered taboo these days.
Yeah, my parents. I remember we had one of those when I was a kid. When I grew up, and they used this. They used that many times.
It turned out when they dropped the records down onto a spinning platter to play the next record, it actually tears them up. It scratches them really bad.
Yeah.
But back then, that's what they wanted to do, is sell more records. So they put that convenient feature in. Nowadays, us people that, are more into it as a hobby and enthusiast and an audiophile see that as, and have found it to actually be
the
horrible.
old gramophones in the 78s were made for a hard steel needle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there is a fourth. I don't remember what the speed is, but there is a fourth speed on which I think is between 78 and 45. They weren't as popular, but they existed for a while.
For some reason, the number 56 pops in my head.
Yeah, that might be it.
Could be. I'm probably wrong, but it's hitting me back here.
Let's see. Are we going to see more Tux Traveler videos? I was debating it, and I was going to record some, but right now I just do not have the power. And so the channel we are going to relaunch in January is Writing Done Right. So we're going to see more content of that coming out. Tux Traveler, I would like to get to it, but it's not a high priority right now. Again, I would kind of like to. It's just right now I'm dealing with power. In fact, we need to pretty much end the stream here shortly because I am at 12.7 volts.
You need a portable nuclear reactor.
I do. If anybody has one of those small portable nuclear reactors Google's talking about, I would love one in this van right now. Maybe in the summertime we can get back to that, or next year, who knows? Maybe this summer I'll actually invest in that generator. So the problem is that there is an inflection point roughly just after Thanksgiving to about 3 weeks after the new year, that solar just doesn't work right. I can pull in fact, I've tested this out in the deserts in Arizona where there's not a cloud in the sky all day. During that period of time, I will get a peak max of 800 to 900 watts of power, whereas my theoretical maximum for a day is closer to 3 kilowatts of power. And so, and no angling the solar panels won't make a difference. It is entirely has to do with an inflection point of the sun out of the atmosphere. It just, the only way I could do it is getting a little bit lower in latitude, which I'm thinking if I get way, way down to the southern tip of Florida, I might get a little bit better performance. But Florida is a lot cloudier than Arizona is. And so there's that. And so during this period of time, I have so many power issues. In fact, I will run out of power tonight. I will wake up tomorrow and my batteries will be all screaming completely low power, unless I keep my refrigerator unplugged and risk spoiling all my food.
Yay.
So I don't really want to do that either. But yeah, so I would love to do more, but as it is right this second, I just don't have the electricity to do that. Which is sad, but I don't know if I'm going to do Tux Traveler videos anytime soon. I probably will do. Some, like I said, writing done right, because that kind of moves into a transition in tech content. It's a more author consulting type content I'm moving into. And so looking at everything over, despite not uploading anything in, I think, 18 months on Writing Done Right, it is my second fastest growing channel. If I put up 3 or 4 videos, I will have it monetized in 90 days. We're at almost every threshold for that. So, and that actually, since I do writing circuit stuff, and I am teaching at some writers' conferences this summer, honestly, that's the channel where I actually have some potential payout for my time. So I would love to get the Tux Traveler. Right now, I don't have plans because of other issues and other time constraints. Anyway, we are going to jump off here for now so that my battery doesn't get completely sucked dry tonight. So we will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly news roundup.